I think I'm already sharing this one. Um,
Oh yeah, you are screen sharing.
So hi everyone, welcome to today's SDI Tea Time. So today we are going to talk about two websites. The first one is called Kaggle and the second one is Google Colab. So we are putting these two together because they are essentially very similar online platforms where you can perform data science analysis online using their server at no cost. And so first, what is Google Colab? It basically Google Colab provides a platform for online data science analysis, and everything you run on Google Colab is in the cloud and with their server. And you can even add a GPU to it. And Google Colab is actually built on top of Jupyter Notebook. Currently, it only supports Python 2 and 3. So when you start a new notebook, you can choose from Python 2 or Python 3, but it may support R and other languages in the future. And like any other features in Google Drive or Google Doc, you can share this notebook with others and collaborate on the same notebook. And you can leave comments on it. You can save it into Google Drive, and also you can save it into GitHub. And so most of the popular packages on Python are already built in, but also you can choose to install your own packages if it's not already in there. And we're coming back to this part later on in the code demonstration part. And next, what is Kaggle? So Kaggle is first a platform known for hosting online data science competitions. So numerous people are competing to build models based on the same data sets, and they can have like thousands of different models. So Kaggle actually encourages a crowdsourcing approach where everyone can come up with their own model, and you can also learn from other people's model and build on their code to improve their code. So there are, but other than the competition part, there are many other functions of Kaggle. Like they provide a online open data sets. So if you just want to practice on Kaggle, you don't have to necessarily upload your own data set. You can just use the data set they provided. And there's kernels, which is essentially just like the Google Colab or Jupyter Notebooks. And there's discussion board where you can ask questions to all the other fellow data scientists. And there's learning section where they provided different learning tracks to learn Python and R for data science here. And they even provide a job board if you expand this little button over here. So first, data science competition. Like I said, you are encouraged to build on other people's code. So once they have entered this competition, they usually build a kernel or notebook based on this data set, and you can most of the time the competition requires the notebook to be public, and you can open other people's notebook and read and run through their code, and you can even fork this notebook into your own account and build on their code essentially. So it can be inspired by and learn from and improve the existing approach. And most of the time, the competition provides its own evaluation metric. Like for the first one over here, home credit default risk, its evaluation metric is the area under the ROC curve. And if you want to enter this competition, you can just click on this new kernel button over here, and you have to agree to some agreements, and you're there. You can start your analysis on this data set. And if you click on this data over here, there's an overview of the data, and so you can have a rough idea of the data set before you get started. And this kernel section over here is where you can view other people's work. Like the first one over here, some ways to treat categorical features. So you can actually learn a lot from other people's notebooks over here. And discussion board, every competition comes with its own discussion board. So you can ask questions about this data set or about this competition. And unlike Stack Overflow, where you have to provide some pseudo data there in order to other people you can understand your code and data. People in this discussion board over here usually already know your problem and know the data set, so you can save a lot of trouble. And leaderboard, of course, since it's a competition, you know who's the first place and stuff. And second part, data.
So what's the like, a month to go until merger deadline? What is merger?
So they have a number of different teams, and 2 teams or more can actually merge into 1 team. And yeah.
Okay, so you can even like meet your team after second period, like once you have.
Yeah, exactly. So second part is they provide a ton of open data sets, and they come with a nice variety. Like the 10 monkey species is essentially a image recognition type analysis data set. And they also have some prediction type data sets. So you can just explore and start your analysis on one of the data sets. And also each one of the data sets also comes with a discussion board, so you can ask questions there. And I think either participating in the competition or start your analysis on the data set is the best way to learn data sets through a very practical way. So you can get your hands-on experience here. So datasets, yeah, you can also view other people's kernel built based on this dataset over here. And if you want to use this dataset, you can just click new kernel over here. Kernel, which is just essentially notebooks. It contains code block like here and text block like here. So it essentially uses a Markdown type syntax. So it's very similar with R Markdown. And it runs on Kaggle's server in the cloud. And you can also add GPU to it. And so this learning section, so basically this is all the courses that it currently provides, mostly machine learning, and mostly they're about Python, but there's one about R and one about SQL over here. So I think I'm going to show how to add GPU in both Colab and Kaggle in a little bit. And both of these websites supports TensorFlow already, so you don't have to build your own environment for TensorFlow. And of course, you can install your own packages on both of these websites. So the code demonstration part, let's start with Colab. So it's very easy to use this Colab. If you want to run this entire code cell, you just click either click this play button over here. It's very slow for some reason. Okay, so you can either click this play button over here to run this entire cell, or you can just Control Enter and it's going to run this cell. So if you just want to run the highlighted line, you can click Control plus Shift plus Enter, or you can use some runtime over here. And if you forget some of the hotkeys, you can click Tools and Command Palette. There's a number of command you can do over here, and there's hotkey over here. And if you want to start a new cell, you can click this code cell over here, and you can do a tab completion like in any other IDE. And you can move this cell up and down. Yeah, it's very simple. So if you can, if you want to share this notebook with other people, just like in any other Google function, you just click this share over here, and you can add comment to code cell and text cell. So yeah, that's Google Colab. So here's how to install your package here. You just use this simple line over here. It has pip integration here. And there we go. So it does support TensorFlow. It's very easy here. There's one tiny difference between Colab and Kaggle is kind of cumbersome to upload your own data into Colab. So they provided a couple of different ways. The first one is to upload the local file onto Colab. And basically, it provides its own package over here, so you can import your files. So after you imported the files, it's stored in a dictionary with the keys as the file name and the value, just the file you just uploaded. And you can read the files with pandas like in any other Python that you do. And yeah, that's basically it. So if you do want to learn more about Colab, they do provide some building examples over here. Like there's overview, you can use charts, and there's a guide in how to use external data. And you can also use BigQuery with Google Colab and stuff like that. So let's start the Kaggle part.
Yeah, I was seeing something like can connect it to a remote database or something like that.
Remote database.
So,
What kind of remote database?
again, SQL database or
Haven't seen that yet. Yeah.
what is BigQuery?
Can you explain?
I think it's a query for a big table that's like on for Google tables, so you can use them. So it's language that you can use to query on this.
Well, like SQL, but not so.
Like yeah,
for different things.
Yeah.
Okay. Try to edit things like that. So nobody queries Google's version.
Yeah. So I think they just published Google Colab, the public version last year. So they are still working on to improve it. But I think we can see more features in the future. So let's come to the Kaggle part. So this is the competition page, and this home credit default risk is the hottest competition right now. And so if you click this overview, you can see a description of this current competition and evaluation methods, and there's timeline. And in this data section over here, you can get a quick overview, but I'm not currently entered into this competition, so I can't see the preview of the data. And so let's go to the notebook part. It's not opening. Okay, so here's the notebook. You can fork the notebook over here if it's not your own notebook, and you can see the version history over here, and the dataset you're using, and some output comments, stuff like that. So let's click the edit kernel. You can choose from your programming language over here. It does support R and Python and some other languages, I think. And you can upload your own notebook file or download this notebook as a file into your local computer. And you can click commit and run. It's going to run through this entire notebook and do a commit. And if you expand this button over here, it's going to give you a data overview, and you can get a quick glimpse of your current data, and you can also add other data sources over here, and you can upload data set from your local computer. And if you click setting, this is where we add GPU. It's very easy, just a click, enable a GPU. Yeah. And if you want to add a custom package, just enter this package over here. And there's version history over here. And it's pretty similar with the Google Colab. You can click, you can press Control plus Enter to run over this entire cell. And it does come with environment variables, but it's pretty slow. And you can see the CPU and GPU occupations in the bottom of the page here, and RAM occupation. So it also has a console. So this interface is actually pretty similar with a standard IDE interface you can see everywhere. And I think there are currently some bugs over here. So because it says if you highlight this line, you can run this line by pressing Control-Shift-Enter, but actually it doesn't work. You have to click this play button over here in order to just run this single line over here. I think I forgot to introduce some of the smaller features of Google Colab. You can first insert a Scratch code cell. I think this is pretty cool. So you can just run some code over here without adding it into your formal notebook. And also it does provide some code snippets with some built-in already written codes, like uploading files and downloading files over here, saving data to Google Drive. And there's a table of contents. Okay, that's it. Any questions about these two websites or general questions?
So how do we load data in Kaggle from local?
So if I zoom out a little, expand this button here, and you can see the data page, and you can upload data sets. Yeah.
Have you ever used Colab with another person at the same time? I know you said you can share it.
No.
I sort of thought that. I was always thinking that would be fun.
Yeah, that's
to edit something at the same time.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of interesting. You can try. I don't think it's a smart choice to let two people work in at least the same code cell for this at the same time. Yeah, but it's easy that you can just share the file to others, so you can collaborate on it. So other questions? No. So I think this either Colab or Kaggle is like online HPC for people that don't have account to HPC. So I think everyone should get use of it, and it's a very useful tool. Yeah.
Do we provide large-scale data processing infrastructure like parallel processing?
What processing?
Parallel processing.
Parallel processing. I don't think so. The resource is free, but it's limited.
But they provide GPU.
Yeah, they provide GPU. But if it's but if there's a lot of people using the GPU at the same time, you have to wait in a queue. So, okay, so thank you, everyone.